Hey world, it's me again. I'm here on a Friday in the Savannah, Georgia area. As you know, I love it here. I'm going to silence my phone because it's going to repeat everything I say about a second later. I like to watch myself because I'm just that vain. Okay, I just watched myself for a minute and I was not pleased. I apologize for everything that I might have said previously. Anyway, welcome to our quarantine interviews. Today, I am privileged to talk to someone who I enjoyed watching on stage, who I fell in love with her voice, and I think you will too. So I'm going to do a little preview here, and I hope you enjoy. Here we go. I'm back, and I've got to stop the video. We're just going to play again constantly, which I would enjoy, and I'm sure you would too. But let's bring her out here, Kimberly Camacho. As soon as I press the button, there it is. Yay. Hey.
Let me unmute myself.
Oh,
hi.
So before we go into this, Ryan McCurdy says Kim rocks. So
hi, Ryan.
How sweet. Wow, that's just amazing. I didn't know that there was that breadth of song in your repertoire. There's a lot going on there. How long have you been doing this?
Well, singing, I've been doing it since I could speak. My family can attest for that. I was always screaming something. But I've been taking private voice lessons since I was 13. And I always, whenever I had a teacher, I always said that I wanted to be able to sing anything given to me. I really wanted to be versatile, which I'm not 100% there, but I feel especially in the realm of musical theater and other genres, I'm pretty close. But so I've been singing and performing since I was 10 or 11, I think. That's when I started.
So you started performing when you were 10 or 11?
Yes.
Okay, but you sang before then, I'm sure.
Oh yeah. When I was a baby, my family tells me stories that I just screeched at the top of my lungs. They couldn't take me to any restaurant. So it's been a long time coming.
Yeah. That's so of course I have that in my family as well with my daughter. She was singing when she was probably 2 years old. and of course her voice has grown a lot. She's not quite at your level yet, but I imagine she'll get there. I hope that she gets there, because go ahead.
I said, of course. Yeah.
Of course.
Just practice, training.
Yeah, it does take a lot of training. So you've been going to voice teachers for your entire adult life as well, or do you continue to go now?
Yeah, I did. I had some coaches that I worked with in college. And then after college, I traveled for a bit, but I relocated to New York City recently and then got connected with a new vocal coach there who is fantastic. I love her.
Cool. So how was New York City going before you had to come down south?
It was fine up until March, I guess. I had been back and forth for a while, and then in January, I officially moved into my own apartment with friends of mine. But I had been there the whole previous year, back and forth. But it was fine up until then. I loved where I lived. I worked at Pearl Studios, which anybody who knows that knows that's where almost every audition is. So I had a really good setup happening where I was just like ready. I was like ready to go and like chase all of these dreams. And then March, when we heard more about cases in the US, it just got, especially in New York, there's so many people and so many places where people gather that things had to be shut down. So I didn't have a job. There were no auditions happening. And I was like, if I have to stay somewhere inside and away from people, I would rather do it with my family and in a place that's less populated. And also my family lives like kind of near a bunch of woods and trails and things. So I was like, it's probably better for me to be in nature. Very much more calming and a little less crazy. So it was fine up until like the beginning of March. That's when things started. I noticed that they were taking a turn. So it was great before then. I loved it before then.
Oh, cool. Yeah, you were on this upward trajectory, at least in my mind, and I know you were hopeful for that as well. And I'm sure it was going that way. And then here's this pause that comes, and what do you do with yourself?
Exactly. Yeah, it was very hard at first. I was very angry.
Yeah.
Like angry at like life, God, whatever you want to say. I was just confused because for me personally, I felt like timing was so right. Like this was my time to move to New York. All of these doors were opening, all of these things were happening, and then it just all went away. Mm-hmm. So, and it was also one of these moments where I was like, well, why did I sign a lease for an apartment if I was going to be gone 3 months later? Like that's very frustrating, but it was, and I'm sure there's plenty of other people that are feeling similar feelings, probably in a worse way. But it was just one of these things where I had to sit back and be like, you know what? I have to believe that everything happens for a reason. And there's got to be some form of growth and something better on the other side. So it's choosing every day to find the positive in what's happening. But it's hard. It's hard for the whole industry too. Everything's on pause.
Yeah.
It's kind of scary that things are closing or not opening or people are having to stop. It's a hard time. And I try to be positive, but sometimes it's very, very hard.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I mean, this is my bright spot of the day where I get to come and talk to people like you and mm-hmm. just be able to have that conversation, that ongoing conversation. And not just for me, but also for the person I'm talking to. I think it alleviates some of that stress. At least I hope.
No, it does. I'm a person that's a verbal processor. So speaking through things is so helpful for me. Mm-hmm. So getting to connect, especially with other artists and people that are dealing with the same thing, it's helpful in the sense that you can process, but also to know you're not alone. Right. That there are other people that experience this and we can all help each other, you know?
Yeah, I agree. Let me ask you about this. Now you've had this thing going on lately. You discovered this site or this program, I'll say TikTok, right?
Yeah, TikTok, yes.
So tell me a little bit about that. What was your intention when you discovered it? It
was just to help me cure boredom, To be completely honest, my sister was using it. My sister's 18, and it seemed fun and a good distraction. Sometimes it's a little too much of a distraction. I'm like, I need to be off my phone. But it's a cool app. It's very visual. It's all a bunch of videos that come really quick. And there's a lot more like skill in things being on there. There's comedians that post content on there, sketch comedy, a lot of musicians. So it was I felt a little more entertained than some other visual social media platforms because it was constant videos. So it was easy to just sit there and scroll for hours, which I had to stop myself. But yeah, my sister told me about it. I got it in, I think, beginning of April, maybe.
Yeah. And so you created your account on it, and you decided you're going to try some stuff out. Now, when did the showing people how to sing like other people start?
Yeah, I can't remember an exact time. I've always done vocal impressions of singers just for fun. It was just something I always did around my friends. And I was with my brother one day. We were helping my dad with something. I was like taking pictures of his inventory at work. It was something so random because I had nothing else to do. And I just thought, I was like, you know what? I bet I could do this video about Ariana Grande, and I can break it down into 3 steps. It was just this random thought that came into my head. I was like, oh yeah, these are the 3 things that are like really unique about her voice. So I decided to make this video. And I literally part of me didn't want to post it. I was like, this is dumb. Like, people are going to think this isn't good. They're not going to think it's funny or entertaining. And then I like took a step back and I was like, why do I care what people think? Like, if it's content, I can put it out there. It's entertaining, hopefully. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to post it. And people liked it. And then I kind of made some more. And then it kind of just blew up.
So during a global pandemic, we have this horrible virus that's attacked people, and you go viral. I mean,
if someone told me that was what my 2020 was going to be, I would have laughed so hard.
So I just posted the link to the BuzzFeed article.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So people can go and look at that anytime they want. Your first one you said was Ariana Grande?
Yes.
Okay. Give me a little Ariana.
Okay, let me see if I remember what I did.
No, teach me. You got to teach me how to sing.
Oh,
like
you want
Ariana.
me to do the tutorial? Okay,
Yeah.
I will say this. I set up the tutorial as a way to say these are the 3 most unique elements of the singer's voice. It takes me a while to learn the impression, so it doesn't happen right away, because there have been people that commented and were like, it didn't work. And I'm like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So the first thing with Ariana is I modify my voice to sound like her with my placement. My placement is a little more forward and bright. Hers is a little more, she has a very high voice. She has a very high range, but I place it in the back of my throat to give me kind of a lower sound because my voice is a little higher than hers. That's the first step I do. The second step is she doesn't say a lot of consonants, which is kind of just the pop genre. People don't really hit those consonants like we do in theater. And then the last thing she does is whenever she has a riff that she's going up, she kind of like throws her voice at the end and does a little pulse. So putting that all together, this is what it sounds like.
Okay.
Ain't got no tears to cry. And then the riff sounds like this. Oh, yeah. That little throw of the thing. So that's how I break it down. I completely understand that it's not something someone could get like that, but those are the steps.
All right. So I did a little homework before this. I've been practicing. So
okay, great.
Just give me a minute here. I got to warm up. Okay. Why are there so many? Do I have it? Is that
perfect?
it?
That's perfect.
Excellent.
I love that song.
I do too. That's one of my favorites.
Yeah, I rewatched. What did I watch? My family, we watched one of the Muppet movies recently, and that song came on, and I was like, oh, the Muppets are the best. They're so great.
So there's 2 with that song in it. The first would, of course, be the Muppet movie.
Right.
And then the second would be the Muppets.
Yeah.
So which one was it? It was that one?
We watched the Muppet movie.
The Muppet movie. Okay.
Yeah.
That's the classic. That's, of course,
Right.
Jim Henson's voice, who everybody knows.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. So I used
That's my favorite one, I think. I do love Muppets Christmas Carol, but the Muppet movie is just the best.
Yeah, I would have to say that as well. You know, if you're going back to, you know, the first incarnation of Star Wars.
Oh,
this
sure.
is the first incarnation of the Muppets. That's very similar. That you have a certain love for those movies, the Muppet movie, the Great Muppet Caper, and then Muppets Take Manhattan.
There's
the first is the best.
Yes. There's Treasure Island. There's Space.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Muppet movies.
Yeah. And all my favorites are with Jim Henson's voice, because he's like one of my huge heroes.
Yeah. Oh, he's so great.
He really is. But so I've always been kind of a mimic as well. When I was a kid, I used to listen to things and copy it. And of course, the Muppets were a lot of what I watched. So that was a lot of what I did. But yeah, I can't do Ariana Grande.
That's okay. And that's something that I try to explain, is that like, there have been people that were like, do this person, or like they want me to do male singers, which I don't mind trying, but my voice is so much higher than some people, or like some people's voices are lower than some of the female singers. So mimicking them is difficult when it comes to like pitch and tonality. So I completely understand that.
Yeah. So have you attempted any male singers then?
I did one, and this was just for me. So one of my favorite bands is the 1975, which is a band from London. I love them. They're a little more alternative, but they just released a new album, which is great. And so I can do a really good impression of them because he has such a thick London accent and a higher voice. So I know how to do accents because of theater. So that one I did not as a tutorial. I just did an impression video to say, get the new album, because I love them. That was the only male one that I've done. I did a genre I did one for like pop punk bands, like in the early 2000s, which was, again, just for me because I love them. So I didn't mimic specific singers. I did styles and songs, and a few of them were male singers or songs in bands. So I haven't really attempted many. I've gotten suggestions, so I might try, but I'm sure there are some that I will not be able to do.
Yeah, I'm sure. It's it would be like me trying to sing Adele Dazeem.
Oh yes, of course.
Idina Menzel. I do that all the time. Let's see. So you do accents, and I have here listed British, Cockney. Okay, now Cockney is a separate dialect from British, you would say?
Yeah, I think it's like the way there's a lot of different accents for Great Britain. I think British RP is the very proper one.
Okay.
And the Cockney is more of the like lower class, like if you're doing Oliver, that's your accent. So I specify those two because I can do them. But
yeah, and then you go into, of course, Southern. You know, that's I don't know how you could be able to do that. That seems hard.
Right.
And then Irish and Scottish. So you started with a Southern accent, of course.
I'm actually not from the South.
Oh, really?
I grew up in upstate New York.
Okay.
Which there's not a thick accent there. There's a few, it's not as thick as like the city or Long Island. My mom is from Long Island. My dad's from Boston, which is a whole bunch of accents.
Long Island in a Long Island accent.
Long Island.
Okay.
Yeah,
say
it's
Boston.
Island.
Boston and a Boston accent is just Boston.
Yeah, I don't know the Boston accent as well, but all of my mom's family, my mom's father has lived in Missouri for like 15 years, still has the thickest Brooklyn accent I've ever heard. It just doesn't go away.
Yeah. Yeah. So you go ahead. Sorry. I'm not, so I don't have a very thick Southern accent. I might have picked up a little bit. My family moved when I was in college. So and I don't know
if I have an accent, honestly. There's a few elements of the upstate New York. I think a little Southern has come in because I've been with my siblings have developed an accent a little bit. So my family, yeah, we kind of are from all over. So my accent's in between a bunch of things.
Yeah, I think that is definitely helpful if you're going to pursue a career in acting, is to have that non-regional, nondescript voice when you walk
Right.
in, and then be able to flip it on a dime when they say, okay, yeah, this is from this region of the country or whatever. Do you
Sure.
do a Midwestern accent?
I do not. I know a couple elements of it, but I haven't figured that accent out yet and haven't really tried it.
So I think that should be your next round after you do all
Okay.
these voices. Yeah, you
Yeah.
start doing accents. That's a huge thing too. I see hundreds of YouTube videos on accents.
I know, it's crazy. The funny thing is I'm so much better at doing singing impressions than speaking or vocal, just speaking ones. Like doing an impression of just a person is very difficult for me. But the singing, I think it's just because I know more about vocal technique and placement and creating different sounds. But I can do some accents, but there are some that I'm really bad at. I can't
Yeah.
do an Australian accent to save my life.
Really?
I don't know why. It always turns to British for me when I try it.
Yeah, I think that's funny because I think whenever I have a British accent, it always turns to Australian.
Okay. That's so funny. Yeah. They're like similar vowels and things. It's hard.
Yeah. Irish for me always turns to Scottish.
I think everything I do besides Southern and like a New York accent turns back to British. I don't know why. It just always comes back.
It's your favorite.
It is. I've done those ones for the most. And the first show I ever did when I was 10 was I did Narnia the musical, and I was Lucy. So the British accent is just from the beginning. It's never left.
Right. Yeah. So I'm gonna go down my list here. Let's see. I've got Joseph and the Amazing ... I want to know what that was about.
That was about. It's about this guy who had a bunch of brothers that hated him, and they gave him a coat, and then they sold him. You're
I'm
fine.
giving you a hard time. We all know.
There's that show. I'm not a huge fan of that show. I'm going to be really honest.
That's
I've done it a couple times, and it was not a great experience both times.
Yeah.
I think it's a good show. I think it's really fun. But every time I used to have it I didn't want to put it on my resume twice because I was like, I don't want to spell this whole thing twice. It's so long.
Yeah. I think they just did. Well, of course, Andrew Lloyd Webber has been doing these live streams of his shows,
Right.
and I tuned into it the time that he was doing Joseph and the Amazing ...
Yes.
Yeah, with Donny Osmond, and I was just like, oh my gosh, this is so weird.
Yeah.
Have you seen that version?
Yes, I didn't finish it because I couldn't.
Right.
It was so odd.
So
I mean, the show itself is odd, but watching it, I was like, what is this?
Right. It's like they basically, to explain it to the people that are watching, they take like a school of kids, put them in an auditorium, and it looks like it's in Great Britain. I'm imagining like
Sure.
A lower school in Great Britain, and they basically go on an acid trip.
Yeah, truly. It's like across the universe. Like
Yeah.
But musical theater British.
With Donny Osmond.
With Donny Osmond, yes.
Yeah. Let's see. Shrek the Musical is one of my favorites.
That was really fun, honestly. That was a fun time. And I was one of the fairy tale creatures, but also did the tap dancing rat. We did the Duloc stuff. I didn't expect to enjoy that show as much as I did, like being in it.
Yeah.
It's just, it's a fun show. But I love the shows where it doesn't matter which part you play, you have a good time.
Yeah.
And I definitely think Shrek is one of those shows.
Definitely. I got to share the stage with a former castmate of yours in that show, Katie James.
Oh, Katie, what an angel.
Yes, she truly is. Her. We all love Katie James. She played middle Fiona.
Oh, okay.
And also Dulacian. and of course Jojo Ward, who's one of my good friends here. He was also in Shrek. Jojo, you played, oh gosh, what did you play? Was it Humpty? Humpty Dumpty?
Oh.
No, that's not right. No, I can't remember. He's going to tell me in a minute. It doesn't. But yeah, so It's a Wonderful Life. Was that a musical?
It's an upcoming one, and we're doing the play version,
Okay.
which will hopefully be done this Christmas, depending on stuff. I got the contract a while ago and signed it, so it's one of my upcoming credits on there. I'm hoping it happens. It would be fantastic. I love that show.
Yeah.
The play version is more so told. It kind of starts in the middle of where the movie is. So it starts right before he meets Clarence, and then they talk about his life, and that's when you see his childhood, and it goes back to like memories.
I see.
It's how it's set up.
Adapted for stage.
Yes, adapted for the stage. But that's one of my favorite movies. I love Jimmy Stewart. So I was really excited to get to do that.
Well, that's amazing. Sorry. Small Jimmy Stewart impression.
You're good.
Jojo was the Mad Hatter. I apologize, Jojo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and he was the Mad Hatter. That's true. So Grease is coming up too.
Yeah, that one has been postponed until later this year.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully it happens. That's another one that will just be fun. People might get mad at me. I've never seen the full movie of Grease, which I know is crazy. People get mad at me. I know. I know all the music. I just never watched it. I know exactly what the story is. I know everything that happens. I just never watched it. I've never done the show. So I'm excited to do it, and I need to watch the movie. I need to watch the whole thing. I told my mom that recently.
Dirty movie. So dirty. Well, I should just say raunchy. Raunchy is the correct.
Yeah. It's some of the things I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah. So you are Rizzo.
Yes.
Okay. This
will be fun. That's the one, and I know all the music, and that's one of my favorite songs from the show is the song she sings. Oh, so I'm really excited to do that when I get the chance.
Yeah. Well, I hope that you will get the chance for sure. So I'm reading this, and I immediately see Harley Quinn, but it's not Harley Quinn. It's Haley.
It's not. I know. I realized that recently too. Haley Quinn. That was when I got that contract for that show. I was like, Harley Quinn.
You were so hopeful, weren't you?
I was like, that would be fun. But no,
Mama Won't Fly.
Yes, that's it's a kind of like a Southern farce, honestly. It's written by 3 playwrights. Their last names are Jones, Hope, and Wooten. I don't know if you're familiar with any of the plays that are like Savannah Sipping Society, Dixie Swim Club. The same writers that wrote this one. This is just one of their lesser known ones. But 2 of those writers helped write for Golden Girls in the past. So it's basically a Golden Girls episode on stage, just longer. It's so funny. It's really like kind of sarcastic, snarky, witty humor. Every one of their plays has a crazy costume bit where the main characters have to put on a crazy costume. So it was really fun. I had never heard of their plays or who they were, and it was just ridiculous. It was great. There was all these crazy characters that kept coming in to like make trouble. Very much like a farce. It was honestly one of my favorite things I did. It was so different from anything I've done. But it was really fun.
I just love the name.
Yeah.
The name itself. I think Savannah Sipping Society, I believe that was put on here maybe 3 or 4 years ago.
Well, Savannah, like that's a perfect show.
Right. No, David Poole. Thank you very much. Did Savannah Sipping Society. So there you go.
Hi, David. I met him through Jen, I think for a workshop she did.
Oh.
I think that's where that was.
Okay.
Definitely remember meeting.
Yeah, David's great.
Yeah.
I love David.
I love everyone in Savannah. They were so great.
Yeah, we are great.
It is. And I love the arts community there. And I loved coming. I I just love the town. It's or the city. I think it's a city. Some of the best coffee I've ever had in Savannah, Georgia. It was so good.
Do you know who made it?
What?
Do you know who made it? The coffee.
I went to every coffee shop. I went to Foxy Roxy. I went to what's the other one? The Henny Penny one. Those were right near where I was staying. There were other ones I went to too. I just can't remember the name. Okay. I went to so many though, because I'm addicted.
Yeah.
But it was all good. Every place I went was good.
Yeah, I enjoy Perk coffee. I'm looking for endorsements if that's feasible. Perk, if you're listening. Just kidding. Mostly kidding. Yeah, it's Savannah is great for coffee. It's great for theater, and I love it. So that's that. Disaster the musical. How was that?
It's a really fun show. I knew nothing about it. I got to do that with a handful of people I knew. That one is also, it's not as well known, and it should be because it's so funny. It's all 70s music, which every song you know, and the bits in that show are so funny. Sometimes they literally just sing one line to make a joke, and that's the song. And it's great. But the whole movie is a spoof on 70s. I mean, the whole musical is a spoof on 70s disaster movies. Mm-hmm. So the whole first act is setting up all the relationships, and then crazy things happen. And the whole second act is literally every disaster you could think of besides a tornado happens.
There's like a volcano that erupts, and
maybe minus volcano. No volcanoes or tornadoes, but pretty much everything else. There's an earthquake, there's a tsunami, there's rats, there's all these other things, and people die, and which is unfortunate, but in a comical way.
Yes. It's better if you die in a comical way. If I don't die in a comical way, I'm coming back.
Oh my goodness. Disaster is so great. It's just a fun, you just have to go in wanting to have a good time and just like laugh.
And correct me if I'm wrong, the music is already in our minds when we go in. It's So it's like
many well-known songs. There's a character in that show that's played. There's this one character. My character was supposed to have twins. She had twins that were a boy and a girl, and they have one person play them and just keep running off stage, switching a hat or a wig. It's so ridiculous, but it's so funny. It's just like things like that. It's just a bunch of bits, and it's not serious at all, but it was really fun. That was one that and it was great music. It was so fun to do it. And that was a show where we had a live band, which was great for that type of music because it really gave energy to the show.
Yeah. If any of you are listening out there, let's do Disaster the Musical here in Savannah. I think that would be fun.
It's so great. I think that the community there would really like it too.
I think so too.
Just so entertaining. Like it's similar to like a Mamma Mia, where it's such a fun story, but it's fun music. So the problem is I don't think many people know the title. Right. But once you see it, you're like, oh, this is great. It's really, really fun. And there's so many parts too. It's great for a big cast because there are so many people that get moments and songs, and the ensemble does so much. And I think it would be great to do there.
Yeah, I think so too.
You should do it. I'll come back.
Okay, good. Let's do it. David, Jen, are you out there? No, I don't see Jen out there. Savannah Theater people? No, they're not here either. But David's here. Yeah. He's listening. He's not saying anything. He's keeping it close to the chest right now, I guess, maybe. Let's see, what else can I talk about here on your wonderful resume? You do tap.
I do. I haven't in a bit, but I can tap.
That's important.
Sorry?
I said that's important.
Yes, it is. I know. I haven't been in classes in a while, and I need to get back into them. But I also don't always do dance shows.
Right.
For my type, but sometimes I do.
This is it right here. That's my tap.
Oh,
right.
Nice. I know I need one of those so I can practice.
Maybe used it twice. Yeah, we were getting ready for Mary Poppins, and we were getting ready to audition for Mary Poppins, and I'm like, I gotta learn some tap because
Yeah.
I really want to be hurt. I didn't make it, which is okay, but I still have the tap board. I was in Mary Poppins. I played Mr. Banks, which is also a very great role.
Great role, yeah.
Yeah, but I still have the shoes and the board, so at some point I'm gonna have to start tapping again.
Yeah, I know. I left all my dance shoes in New York at my apartment because I left so quickly. So that's also been hard. But when I go back some point in my life, I will get back into dance classes.
It will happen. It's gonna happen.
It'll happen at some point.
Yeah.
Just not quite sure when.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Ryan, when do you think it's going to happen? I don't know if he's still watching or not. I don't know. Yeah, we're looking probably, I don't want to say November, maybe November.
Yeah, I definitely think fall.
Yeah.
At the earliest.
Yeah, I think so too. So let me ask you this. I may have mentioned it before, and maybe we've forgotten. I don't know. Do you have a song you want to sing?
Me?
Yeah.
Nothing planned.
That's okay. That's okay. I ask sometimes, and sometimes I forget to ask, and it's totally okay. We listened to some of your music beforehand. I'm going to link some of that if you don't mind. I think
sure.
It's so enjoyable.
Thank you.
I still have to listen to, let's see, you have a Sarah Bareilles one on here, I think.
I do, yeah.
And
I love her. She's one of my favorites. She's one of my favorite singers.
Yeah. Did you? Of course, you've seen Waitress.
I didn't see it live. I know what it is, though. I know I'm the worst. I'm so bad at seeing things. I just forget. But I do know all the music. I was actually I did a couple callbacks for the recent Waitress tour, but didn't get it, and that's fine. But it was so cool to be considered. I love that show.
Yeah. What role in particular were you called back for?
I was called back for Jenna and then the Jenna understudy, but I feel like I'm a little too young for that role at the moment. Or I look a little too young. I'm not sure, but
they can always age you up. I mean, come on.
Right. No, I was in for that for a bit, which I love that show. I just love anything Sarah Bareilles.
Yeah, I do too. A huge fan. I'll just have to play that after we go off air so people can watch that.
Okay.
And it's let's see, it's Manhattan. Oh, that's a good one.
One of my favorite songs she sings.
Yeah. So what's your plan for the weekend?
I'm currently visiting my boyfriend, and then our friend is also here, so we're kind of like catching up and hanging out. What am I doing this weekend? I'm not much, honestly. I'm kind of just hanging out, catching up with people. I teach some voice lessons, so I've been lesson planning and preparing for that, which is a fun thing to do that's still involving the arts.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a slow time, which is fine. I've been doing some like writing courses and some online Zoom workshops and things to keep myself fresh. So just a mix of things.
Good. May I make a suggestion?
Sure.
Netflix just released Space Force, and I think it's a must.
I've not seen it, but I will have to. Is that a new show?
It is.
Is that with Steve Carell?
Yes.
Okay, I've seen previews for that, and I was like, I need to watch this show.
You need to watch that. Yeah, it's Steve Carell and Greg Daniels wrote and produced it. We're gonna watch it tonight. I promise. Okay. Because I saw the preview and it just like, oh, and it's like Steve Carell, not how you would usually think of him. Although he just did a very dark role. I don't know if you saw that one.
Which one?
The Morning Show.
Oh, I didn't see that yet.
Yeah,
I want to.
Yeah, that's a good one. It's I would think it's like his one of his breakout performances. One of
Okay.
the more serious ones. So yeah,
I think he's so good in serious, more drama.
I do too.
What was the one I watched recently? Oh, Beautiful Boy with him and Timothy I can't say.
Shalamalabala.
Yeah, I can't say his last name, but that one,
Chalamet?
that one was so good. And the woman who played Holly in The Office was also in it.
Yes.
Yeah, that one, it was very serious and hard. It was not an easy watch.
Wait, are they actually married in real life?
No, they're not.
Okay.
He's married to one of the women he dates on the show. What is her name? Oh, I can't remember. It's the one. Are you an Office fan?
I am.
Okay, it's the one that I can't remember her name. The woman he dates where he puts the picture of himself over her family on the ski trip.
Yes, that's actually, yeah, I think that was the first woman he actually dated. No. Yeah. So there was Jan, and then there was his real estate agent.
Yes, it's the real estate agent.
Yeah. Okay,
that's his wife in real life.
Yeah.
There's too many names. I can't remember.
Jan, Holly, I don't remember her name. And then there was the one episode where he ran into the woman while he was giving blood, and it looked good.
Oh.
They almost, and then he passed out because he forgot to eat.
Oh, that was so sad. It made me so sad.
It's crazy how you can pull for this truly despicable person.
Yeah.
I mean, on levels, he's very despicable, but at the same time, he's lovable. It's just, yeah.
It's so, yeah, it was such a, I mean, I didn't watch all of it live because I was a little young, but it's such an interesting character because it truly is like, you hate him at times. You're like, what are you doing? But then you're also like, he's the best. Yeah, it was cool. I've listened a lot to Jenna Fisher and Angela's podcast, Office Ladies.
So I started listening to that, and I probably listened to 2 or 3 of the shows, and I need to get beyond their friendship.
Yes, everyone says that. Everyone's like, you guys need to stop talking about thrifting.
Yeah. But I love Jenna Fisher so much, and I love. Oh gosh, it's her real name is the name on she has on the show.
Angela Kinsey, I think.
Angela Kinsey. I love them both.
Yeah, they do talk a lot about things that we know nothing about. It's literally like the quote where he's like, "I love inside jokes. I'd love to be a part of them one day." It's a Michael quote. That's how I feel listening to it.
Yeah, exactly.
It is so cool to listen to I kind of sometimes skip and just get to where the episode starts, or where they talk about the episode. But there's been some interesting things that they talk about, like what was scripted, what was improv. I'm just an Office nerd, so
yeah, I love that because I'm a huge Office nerd as well. And my wife has never watched them, so we need to actually binge watch them on Netflix. Right now, we're binge watching the Gilmore Girls because neither one of us have watched it.
I love Gilmore Girls.
It's great.
Oh, it's so funny.
And I, of course, had my whole male thing where I was like, I can't watch a show that has girls in the title. That just doesn't make sense. But it's really wonderful. It's a wonderful show.
Yeah. I know some people that they don't get the rhythm of it because it's supposed to be a modern day farce. That's what it is. And I try to explain that to people, and they're like, I just can't get how fast they talk. And I'm like, but it's the humor. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do love it.
It's beat humor. It's very moment by moment, it's just, and I love that. Mm-hmm. My Girl Friday, I guess you could go back to that.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. And then of course, Marvelous Miss Maisel does the same thing, but it's the same person producing it. So that makes sense.
Oh, sure. I didn't know that actually.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Wow. We've gone over a lot.
Yes, we have. I was like, we're going all over the place.
Yeah. That's how it is with me. I don't know why. I need to.
That's fine. I'm the same way. I rabbit trail all the time.
Yeah. I did this with Ryan yesterday. We rambled forever. And meanwhile, I think somebody's been messaging me. They may have been watching this the whole time, and they've been, okay, Sure. We'll do that. Somebody's trying to get me to interview somebody else. So that's great. I love
Okay, cool.
But gosh, I love that we got to sit down and talk like this. I knew that I would enjoy it after watching you on stage. And also we had that little interview beforehand.
Yeah, I remember. Mhm.
Yeah. And I just astonishing still. I love that song. It's an amazing song.
It's so good. Such a great show.
It really
I
is.
loved that show.
Yeah. Hopefully you'll get to do it again.
I would love to. That's
Yes.
like definitely a role that I could want to do for many, many times.
Before we go, let me ask you this. What is the one role that you would drop everything for and go anywhere for?
Joe and Little Women.
There you go.
100%. Yeah. If someone was like, do you want to do this? I'd be like, absolutely.
Yeah.
Where do I sign?
Very cool. Mine would be, I don't know. I've said it before and I keep changing my mind. I don't know.
I definitely have others I would do too, but at this point in my life, it was the most rewarding experience I've had, and I would love to continue to do it because it's just so well written. It's such a good show. It's a story that's so beautifully told. But there's definitely other shows that I would also do if offered.
Right.
But Joe is the current one.
Joe's awesome. All right. Well, have a wonderful weekend. Be sure to watch Space Force because I just think it's.
I need to. My boyfriend and I both love The Office, so I'm sure he'd love to watch that. We're both Steve Carell fans.
All right. Thank you, Kim.
Thank you for having me.
Is it Kim or Kimberly?
I go by Kim with people that know me, but I'm fine with Kim or Kimberly.
Laura, she wasn't prepared. Leave her alone.
Oh, did someone want me to sing?
Yes.
I'm sorry. I wasn't prepared.
All right. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Well, that was joyful. I hope it was joyful for you as well. Happy Friday. Enjoy your weekend. Next week, I don't know what I'm going to do. I really don't. If you have some suggestions, throw them at me. I have a couple of guests coming on, but I'm not ready to tell you who it is yet. We have a very special show coming up on Friday. Friday will be, I can't believe I'm saying this, it will be our 50th show. So make sure you come by Friday. It's also going to be later in the day. We're going to do like a happy hour kind of thing. So next Friday, be here at 6 o'clock, maybe 6:30. I'm still deciding. 6:30 next Friday. And also be here the rest of the week at 1:15. It'll be great. Happy Friday. So long. Goodbye. Farewell. Auf Wiedersehen. All that. Oh, I'll come see you, Mama. My mama wants me to come see her. Goodbye.